All right.
Okay,
And
you have to allow us to share also.
yeah, and let me get that um, for you. And you should be able to do that now.
All right. So every week I tell myself I'm going to move on from the Erica Kirk table, but it just keeps sucking me in. There's always new things.
It can't get, I've told you guys, it can get obsessive sometimes because all right, so like, for instance, if you're mining for gold or you're digging for gold and you hit a vein, you tend to stay there when it produces more and more gold,
Right.
right? Yeah.
So it looks like I'm going to do this layer, as I call it, tonight, regarding Turning Point USA finances. And it looks like I have enough stuff for next class too. And then I'm going to try and quit this Erica Kirk
Hey,
table and
that's
move on to
crazy.
something else.
I was
Yeah,
just
there's
looking at the axis term, the width there with the number of sixes involved. This is
yeah 16,666. Yeah. So this is about the sixth, five, sixth, seventh presentation I've done on this matrix. So um let me begin, I guess. For those that haven't seen it, it's Erica Kirk. And as we just mentioned, 16666. And just a reminder, there's Charlie Kirk right here in the gray ghost letters. I just have it there as a reminder where he is situated there. And then there's turning and point in the white, Turning Point USA. So that's right here, right above Charlie Kirk. Um, and I found out recently that this turning, it's also turning point. It can be both terms all in one. This could be turning point right here. So I don't even need this term. Anyhow, um, so teacher Jonathan, I always have your voice in my head saying that Bible codes and these matrices can be like a modern day ephod. So I'll start off with that. This is ephod in the yellow right here. And then
yeah, but it's not exclusively an ephod. I
no,
can operate it as an ephod, meaning y'all can communicate, he can reveal things to you in it, but
right, right.
also it's a record, I think, of everything that was, is, and will be.
And even things that might not even be, that
Right.
could be. Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm finding that out. Yeah.
And this is why you see, things measured in probabilities. What is probable, what is not probable, right?
Mhm.
Because, everything is not, it's not certain. Just because you find something is not exactly certain if you're trying to reconcile some sort of mystery.
Right,
You know what I mean?
right.
Anyway, it's
So
very much more than an ephod, but I think you're right. It's got a lot to do with the ephod.
in
It's a
this
way for
particular,
y'all,
yeah, go
yeah,
ahead.
it's a way for y'all to communicate. That's
Yeah.
what the ephod was.
So in this particular layer that I was working on, I specifically asked the Holy Spirit, who is guilty? So that's what I started with, and it came up, who is guilty right here in the purple, right above ephod. Who is guilty? And if you've been following this story at all, you know it seems like lots of people are guilty. It's like a tangled web of guilt. There's so much going on surrounding Charlie Kirk's assassination. So the first thing after I did who is guilty, I put in, I searched the terms multiple answers because I know there's just multiple answers. And that came up right here, multiple, and then answers. And that's a ephod effect right there.
Abacus
Yes,
effect.
Abbott. What did I
Yeah.
say?
You said EFOD effect. You have
EFOD effect,
EFOD on
abacus
the
effect.
brain. I know
Thank
what
you.
you mean. I
Yeah.
know what you meant though. It's an abacus effect. Yeah.
Abacus effect. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Okay. So, and then I thought to myself, well, since I'm going to do a layer on finances, who is the main finance guy that I can think of in the whole situation? And that would be Tyler Boyer. So I put in Boyer and he connects right here. Boyer. So we have a nice little cluster going on here. Who is guilty? Multiple answers. Boyer. Okay, and he is the chief operating officer, COO of an offshoot of Turning Point USA. It's called Turning Point Action. So that's the next thing I put in was action. So in the orange right here is action. Connecting here with Boyer again. I love it when things connect so nicely. And then we have financial, money, and donations. So the nice little cluster continues here. And this word in the blue connecting with action is sought, like seeking. And it's one result in the whole matrix, and it's a nice skip of 3. So that's cool. So sought, money, donations. So that's his business is finding donors for these companies. And I just happen to notice that Gaza runs through right here. Whether that's important, we shall see. And then right along here is the term audit in the cream color here. Actually, it starts here and goes here. Audit going right through Charlie Kirk. As the story goes, Charlie Kirk ordered an audit, a Doge style audit of Turning Point USA, like 2 days before he was assassinated.
Wow.
So it's interesting.
So the
And
wolves turned on him.
it could be. Wait,
Yeah, I've
just
seen
wait till I
enough.
show you.
Yeah.
So audit goes right through here. Watch this. Uh, Draw your eyes to this hay right here. He ordered the shooting. Okay, who is he? Father of crime. Isn't that cool? Who's father of crime? It sounds like a Godfather type figure, doesn't it? Running through here, we have some interesting things. We have murder or assassination in the brown. We have the murder in red. We have to the slaughter or to the massacre in the plain text.
Wow.
His
Is that talking about lambs?
no, it's actually it's in Ezekiel.
Oh, so okay, so it's a slaughtered like military like
Yeah,
okay.
exactly. Okay, so far we have assassination or murder, the murder, to the slaughter or to the massacre. His name, keep following it over, BB. So that's interesting. Benjamin Netanyahu keeps popping up in this table a lot. Um, such a, such as right here,
Oh, by the
Zionist.
way, when you get done, remind me, you guys, I got to tell you a story about Bibi Netanyahu that happened here locally.
Okay, all right. Right here we have motive in the black and a nice tight skip of 2. Benjamin, we have Zionist right here. It's abacus effect. I'm going to take you back over to here. This is going to blow your mind, Jonathan. This is money laundering, but look how it's encoded. We have Hey Vav Noon. That's finance or capital. And then laundering going the other way, sharing the noon.
All right.
So it's like in Hebrew, money laundering is
Mm-hmm.
two words.
Mm-hmm.
This word
Yeah.
and this word.
All
And
right.
then
So
then
you
they
have
share
a
the noon.
yeah. So you have an effect where you can have the same word going in opposite directions and hinging on one letter. It's called a palindrome. Now, when you've got two words that are different, that are speaking going one way to another, I don't know of a term for that.
Yeah, we need to create one, huh?
Yeah. So
Like
the other is a
you kind of
palindrome.
coined the phrase abacus effect, didn't you?
Yeah, because of,
So
because it's about pairing of letters, and sometimes you can have, if there were not, if you're looking at this code matrix right now, you see that there's letters that are blue and letters that are black. If they were not distinguished as blue or
right,
black, you would
right,
not be able to read it. Okay?
right, right.
So it's about pairing of the letters. And inside of that text of black and blue, there can be different pairings of word. And this is how you get the abacus effect.
Mhm,
Right.
mhm.
Right.
We can call it a palindrome abacus. How about that? For now,
Yeah.
that's what we'll
Yeah,
call
I'll give it some thought, but I've never really, actually, I have seen that before where you'll have something going frontwards and backwards and it's two different words.
Yeah.
Sometimes, here's another thing. Here's another effect, you guys. You can have a word that it's in one direction, be one thing, and then you read it in reverse, it's another thing. And Chris
Oh
Ray
yeah.
has
Oh
actually
yeah.
found dates like of years in the reverse of like judgment and in reverse giving a year,
Right. That's so
right?
cool. Yeah. Jeremy, you can just butt in and speak.
A lot of these terms and names you have in here shouldn't we kind of expect to find a lot of this since I mean they're all related.
Yeah, that's precisely why I searched for them. So
Right,
Okay.
I expect them to turn up.
right.
So
And
Oh, okay.
so
Okay.
yeah,
the
so it's
location that they turn up is the key, I think.
yeah,
So
and where they
it's
intersect, how they intersect, yeah,
Right, right,
all,
right.
all that
would
stuff.
would you then the purpose of the code here is it to show uh just the validity of the of a code as in there's too many anomalies to be random, or is it
Right,
Exactly.
exactly,
or
Yeah.
exactly.
is it
Because with each anomaly, each thing that you have there, the numbers the numbers change. Now,
yeah
his
they ask for it,
matrix
yeah,
width is 16666, right?
right,
It's not a width of 20 like in Yeshua is my name code in one
right,
chapter, right?
okay,
But but even still with a matrix this big, and we're talking about, 16,666 letters in the spiral, it's still significant because of the amount of detail that's there. And
right,
what I've seen with Yaw is sometimes when he wants to show a full story of something, and notice how most of those terms are going at a slant in one direction. That's because this is a helix, right? And this thing keeps telling a story all the way around the helix. We're only looking at a window of a snapshot, right? He
Mhm.
could spin this cylinder literally virtually, and I would like to be able to do that on our website one day. This is where the 3D codes come in, right? Where you can see all the way around the cylinder, and you can see how things progress that are all related. And not
Right.
only that, everything else that is encoded on top of that, because there's things on top of things on top of things on top of things, and it becomes so random and so mixed up. This is how it's hidden from the enemy, right? It's not just
Mhm.
laying on the surface. It's quite complex. So
So
he's able to extract so much information from this one access term that it's overwhelming that it's telling it. Now, what we need to do is pay more attention to the actual verses that are going there because that's another layer. Because
Mhm.
quite often you'll see a connection with something going on in the verse.
Yes, in
You
my
know,
presentation next week, I'll have some verses
very
for
good,
you.
very
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
so I'm sorry, just to are we reading this more like an encyclopedia entry then? And I guess I'll just phrase it that way. I guess just as an encyclopedia entry.
Well, the way I see it, the access term is Erica Kirk, and this is basically her personal table that we're delving into. So you can get into ethics on that, but
Yeah, all right.
um,
So we just need to clarify. You can do this on individual people. I mean,
yeah,
I've spent a lot of time searching personal codes, you guys, but I've also spent a lot of time searching my own codes in that. And you can extract a lot of details to the point where it becomes very eerie. Like this is beyond mathematics. This is beyond time and space because the information, you can't do this in other books. And you can actually test that theory in the code finder. There is monkey text there that you can search the same information, right? And
mhm,
you'll see that the effect is not the same. This is
yeah,
the only book that this happens, the Bible, and
yeah.
not just one text of the Bible. Apparently, it's in all of the texts of the Bible. So we're looking at the Leningrad right now. Okay, so um, yeah,
All right. Yeah, if anyone's been following this saga, there's so many things that cluster right over her name, like beauty queen and controlled assets. And there's things I haven't shown you yet
you
that
know,
I'm gonna.
besides the coach, you
Yeah.
guys, I've been looking at some people doing reportings on this and stuff. Um, and I'm sorry to kind of, you know, I got a weird feeling about this particular person because it looks like she's a honeypot. The codes of revealing that her parents are suspicious because both have been in the military, industrial, stuff, intelligence and all that kind of thing. So,
Mhm.
and then she kind of worked for Trump, when she was in the beauty contest stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
beauty queen is right in here.
classic honeypot,
Mhm.
you know, and
Right.
then anyway, it's very fascinating topic. By the way, these codes, by the way, gets all the views, but when I start talking about serious subjects like the furnace of affliction and suffering, nobody wants to see that. They want to see
Right.
this kind of stuff. It's
Yeah.
fascinating to them. Anyway, um,
um,
so be it. It testifies to the validity of,
right.
Yah, I believe.
Yeah, right. And anyone following this stuff has probably heard of Fort Huachuca. Well, the next presentation next week, I'll show you that Huachuca goes right down in a vertical right here. It's pretty amazing. Um, okay, let's go onward and forward. So back to the original term I searched, who was guilty. Butting right up against it in the plain text is his name said, alas, in the plain text right here. And that could be Tyler Boyer, it could be Netanyahu. Who knows what name Yah had in mind when he wrote this? Or it's just interesting that it says his name said, alas. Okay, let's delve into this line right here where money laundering is. There's in the purple, there's finance going across here. There is fraud in the black right here. Further on down here, there's embezzlement. So finance, fraud, embezzlement, and money laundering, all on this line right here. Let's go down a line, and we have fraud again right here and here and here. Fraud, and that's where motive is. Motive for the assassination, I suppose. I'm almost getting to this nice 16 letter item for you. Just hold your horses and we'll get there. Also, Gaza runs through here. One thing I learned was the iron can have a deep guttural G sound. I learned that this week. So this is Gaza. Zion, hey, Gaza. Okay, and then we have donations again here. We have laundering again right here, a long form of the word, and Boyer running right along with laundering and Tyler Boyer. We have fraud again, paired with finance and motive and donations right here, and that's Benjamin again going through here. Let's see. I think it's time for we can discuss this 16 character thing here. When I put in who is guilty, I was thinking, well, this is Erica Kirk's table. So I put in the term she is guilty, or
Okay.
is she guilty?
Just right off the bat, I want to point out an observation I've been kind of
Okay.
looking at. Is most of those terms that are at a slant are within a range of a certain skip. Okay.
Okay.
And you can
It's
see
tight. Yeah.
they're almost at the same canter.
Mhm.
And what that means is that means they're almost divisible. Sometimes exactly like you can have a smaller term over here that's at kind of the same canter within a few range, maybe two or three numbers, but it's at a canter at a range that stands out to me in
Mhm.
looking at that, especially in the far right over there where you got a cluster of green and purple. You can see they're almost at the same skip.
Mhm. Right.
You see,
Right.
and they're clustered together. That
Mhm.
stands out. That's not normal in a
Right.
text.
Right.
Yeah.
Classic code cluster. Okay.
Right.
Okay. So I was thinking it's her table. So she is guilty. Everyone wants to know that because she acts weird. So this is she. And then I kept going and then I found they. So I'm like, okay, she, they, which is it? She or they?
It's
And
probably
then
both. Is she and they.
I'm glad you said that. I
Yeah.
immediately searched she and they, and it came up one time in the matrix right here in the
Yeah. So
red.
we're talking about a Vav, and I do see a green Vav right there, very close to that olive.
Mhm.
Is that a
So
Vav or Resh by the olive?
which one
Right
of
there, right. No, down, 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 down. Right there. What is that? A Resh or
that's a Vav. I'm
oh,
sorry, that's a I'm so sorry, that's a Yod.
no, not that one. Not the
Oh,
green,
here.
the olive green. Keep going up. Go up.
Oh, the
Go up.
olive
Go up. Go up. Go up. Right there. Right
green.
there. Stop. Come back down. Come back down. Down. Right
Right
there.
here?
Right there. Right there. You
Oh,
see
that's
that green?
donation. That's donation
But
going
you
this
see
way.
that letter there? What is that? Is that a Vav or a Resh?
This is a resh
Okay. All right.
right here. Okay. Okay. So she, they, and so I immediately searched she and they. So I got that one time in the matrix right here in the red. She and they. Okay. It's pretty cool to get a 6-letter result in a perfect horizontal one time. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so she, they, and then the next word is guilty or blame. It could be either. And then the next word is labyrinth or maze.
Mm.
Okay, and then the next is guilty. So I put this whole string of letters into my Do It in Hebrew app, and it came back as she will blame the labyrinth of guilt.
Wow.
And funny enough, I put it into the app again, and it came back with a little bit different results. It said she is to blame. um, and another time it said she is guilty, she is guilty, she is guilty. Um, so the app, see, when you don't have any breaks in the Hebrew line,
Mhm.
the app can come back with a different result each time that you put it in. But but what's cool is they all basically have the same gist. Basically, she and they are blaming or guilty, and it's a labyrinth or a maze of deceit and
My
guilt.
God.
So this is pretty cool, right? 16,
Very, very diabolical.
right? Um, so this goes up through. So I'm thinking to myself, what a tangled web. So then I searched tangled web, and tangled right here in reverse. Just one time in the matrix, it shows up right here, tangled.
Hmm.
And then web in the red here is web. It also means network. So tangled
Mm-hmm.
network. And then we have another palindrome of sorts. The N, I'm sorry, noon, tav, noon, hey. That's truncated Netanyahu. So those four letters. And then you could go this way, noon, tav, noon, hey. That's Netanyahu truncated going the other way. And then you have assassination right here, and the word plan. This is also on the turning point in the white. It's right on that line also. So turning point, Netanyahu, assassination plan, tangled web, all those cool terms right there on that line there. Also in this area, we have web again, or network, going right through labyrinth or maze, this word. So labyrinth, maze, network, web. We have motive in the black, connecting here with embezzlement, abacus effect. Embezzlement, we have a cluster of embezzlement right here. It also connects to the big term, long term. So, and then there's Gaza running through there. There's fraud in the black going through TurningPoint USA, this area right here. I forgot to mention, going through this father of crime, there's Hamas. I just found Hamas today going right through there in a nice horizontal crossing that father of crime term. Let's go further up here. Um, there's Gaza right here, connecting right here with strip. And this is the only time strip appears in this matrix, right here in a perfect vertical connecting to Gaza. And this is Israel right next to it. It starts here and goes up here. And what's fascinating about this Israel appears 16 times in this matrix. but it's only encoded one time right here, perfect vertical. All of the other 15 times are in the plain text. This is the only time it's encoded. Right here, going through Charlie Kirk area. And let's check out this line. This is the intersection of Gaza and Strip. And then there's Israel here. And going through here is laundering and donations. All the way through. So laundering donations. You can make your own assumptions. There's also close to Erica Kirk right here. There's laundering in a truncated way. I'm going to end with this. I've touched on this before, but this will be connecting here with assassinated. So that's sitting right on Erica Kirk. Will be connected to assassinated. And then we have the shooter will accuse or will blame. That's what I'm looking for. So the shooter will blame, and both of those terms are connected to the deceiver going backwards. The deceiver. It actually appears 4 times in this line. The deceiver, the deceiver, the deceiver, the deceiver, encoded backward each time. So, will be assassinated. The shooter will blame the deceiver. Whatever that means, I guess we'll have to wait and see. I think that concludes my presentation for today. Okay.
Very good, brother.
Oh, thank you.
That was awesome, man.
Thank you.
I can't wait to see the other other layers. I've been on that before, man, where you just get obsessed on certain tables and it just keeps giving and giving. And like I liken it like digging for gold, and you finally hit a vein and you just follow that vein. You keep hitting gold, hitting gold, hitting gold, right?
Right.
All right. So
yeah,
yeah,
I was going to say a sneak peek of the next presentation will be the possibility of him still being alive and the whole thing being a witness protection program type situation.
Really?
Yeah. So I've got some interesting clusters as far as that goes to show. Okay, now I'm done.
All right. So, like I said, I've been busy doing extracurricular things and kind of busy working. I've tried to work on this. I'll show it to you real quick. Just give you a peek of what it looks like. It's very preliminary, which is a cup of bitterness with really interesting cluster there. And very few terms so far. I'm still kind of going through the lines, and this is, especially like this is not a cluster. This is me marking, and the more marks that I put or more letters I highlight, the more important the verse. And so it's kind of like telling me something here, and then same thing down here. Anyway, by the time I've refined it and put it all together, it's going to look much different than it does here. But this is the cup of bitterness that I'm looking at, and I think it is encoded several times. Anyway, I hadn't been able to put too much time on that. That code and the presentation that I'm putting together, which is mostly about Yeshua and Joseph in the Garden of Gethsemane. Yeshua praying to the Father, if there's any way to let this cup pass from me. He's forced to drink a cup of bitterness. So it all ties in. It's a lot to put together, and I just wasn't able to put it all together this week. Plus, I've had Chris messaging me, as I've said, for several days, feeding me information, wanting me to do a video on, and I just could not get to it. But he did put out one that I want to share that with you guys. that he's put out. I mean, he's messaged me on all these. I just couldn't do anything with it, you guys. I've been preoccupied with other things. So let's see what Chris says here.
Call it Wav Resh Wav. Half Wav, Calf, Bet Yod, and Donald.
I got to change the, let me just say that. Do you guys see what I just did? I went down to the toolbar and I went to this icon here. I changed the quality of it. If you ever see a video where it's too blurry and you can't see the letters, go change the quality of it. Can you guys see that? When this first started, we couldn't understand what these letters were. And then I went and changed because it was like 240 or 144 or something like that. Anyway, just a side note.
Maduro, the star of Donald. Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to my channel. It is January 12th, 2026. And yes, Maduro is in this Bible code, this Trump Cyrus Bible code. You also have two Qadar and Iran here. I also have Iran running right along Russia. By the way, this is the same table I published last fall. As a matter of fact, it was the very last video that I did in September 26, 2025. You had Tishri 5, 5785 right here. And right after that date, you had Donald Trump going after Venezuela and Maduro. And we all know now that Iran is on the table. Those poor people, Christians that are suffering in Iran. Donald Trump's going to go and help them, but it's going to cost America a lot. You have Shabbat the 6th here. This was actually in my last video. I didn't put this in it, but this entry is there. You have Shabbat attached to the word petrol. If you add the Wav, you have Shabbat the 6th of 5785. That's January 25th of this year. And you have calamity coming. And you also have this entry here from Ezekiel 29:15, and it shall be the basis of kingdom, neither shall it exalt itself any more above the nations, for I will diminish them, and they shall no more rule over the nations. And you have the petrodollar quoted right over top of that. This is coming, ladies and gentlemen. The petrodollar is going for a tumble, and you can guarantee you that if America touches Iran, you can kiss Saudi Arabia goodbye. This Bible code is Hey Tau Shin Pei Hey Shin Bet Tet Aleph. Shabbat the 1st, 5785. That's the 11th month of the Hebrew calendar, and it's the first day. That's January 20th of this year, 2026. And you have the word shofar attached to that, and you have America down at the base. Okay, this is from Ezekiel 33, ladies and gentlemen. Let me read this for you. Ezekiel 33:1. Again, the words of Yah came unto me, saying, Son of man, speak to the children of thy people, and say unto them, when I bring the sword upon a land, if the people of the land take a man of their coasts, and set him for their watchman, if when he sees the sword coming upon the land, he blow the trumpet and warn the people, then whoever heard the sound of the trumpet and take not warning, if the sword comes and take him away, his blood shall be upon his own head. He heard the sound of the trumpet and took not warning, his blood shall be upon him, but he that taketh warning shall deliver his soul. But if the watchman sees the sword come and blow not the trumpet, and the people be not warned, if the sword cometh and take away any person from among them, he is taken away in his iniquity, and his blood shall I require at the watchman's hand. That's running right here with the word shofar, and it's attached to the year, month, and day of 5785, Shabbat the 1st, with America at the base. Okay? I'm warning you all. America, the sword is coming to you, and your petrodollar is going for a tumble as early as January 20th. And Donald Trump, this Tuesday, the 14th of January of 2026, is going to start laying down military options for Iran. I want you to pray, ladies and gentlemen. Pray for the lost. Pray that people get saved. This world is about to plunge into darkness. And I warned everybody last fall, the America that you knew then is not going to be the America that you see a year from now. Actually, from that was 6 months ago. So you've been warned, America. The sword is coming against you, and your petrodollar is going for a tumble. No blood is on my hands. You hear that? No blood is going to be on my hands. I warned, and I've warned, and I've warned. Salvation, you need to worry about salvation, or plunging into darkness. There's going to be a lot of death. And that's what people worry about the most, is the uncertainty of death and what happens to a person when they die. Well, as a believer in Yahushua, I don't have to worry about that. Death can come to me tomorrow. I don't have to worry about that, because I don't have to worry about the uncertainty of death and what happens after a human being dies. There is life after death. And you can only get there is if you have a Savior by the name of Yahushua, because he's not going to advocate you in front of the Father, Yahuwah, if you're not saved and you don't profess him with your lips and change your life. If you're not saved, get saved. This world is about to plunge into darkness. Get saved. Thank you so much for watching this video. Blessings to you all in Yahushua's name. And until we meet again.
All right. So, oh, that's interesting. You see how Eagle Eye came up? That is so interesting how that came up in my feed. Eagle Eye. I've been telling you guys about that video, that movie. You got to see that. That's another subject on AI and stuff. Anyway, Iran. Um, so an urgent warning from Chris on Iran. He's seeing something over there. I got a little, insight on that. It's not going to be America that's going to lead that. It's actually going to be Israel that's going to lead that. America plays a supporting role. Israel and Mossad, Shin Bet, and Oman are actively right now subverting and playing a role in the revolution. I don't know if you guys have seen it. I don't know how much they're putting on the news and stuff. I've been catching it here and there on some social media. Like I saw a video where they tore down the Iranian flag and they put up the Persian flag. And they're trying to bring back the Persian leadership, right? The Persians were actually very sympathetic to Israel before the Muslims came in and took over that country. So I don't think Israel nor the United States wants a war with Iran. I think they would rather subvert and cut off the head and put a new leader in there and be friends. And so we will see. And so that's a work in progress right now. But that's kind of like my prediction. There's going to be Israel that's going to lead that. America's going to play a supporting role. Or Israel will soften the ground. They're doing the groundwork now, and America may come in and mop it up at another time, if that makes any sense. And Donald Trump, gets all the glory as conquering another nation. But then also we see things going on with Colombia and Cuba. So um, a lot of things happening with our president that's very interesting right now. So let me transition now over to here's an interesting one from even Rabbi Gladerson's been paying attention to stuff, but he sees things a little differently. He sees this as Iran is an enemy, which the Muslims are, no question. But the Persians, and I know a lot of Persians, by the way, all the people that I've ever met that were from Iran always referred to themselves as Persians. They did not like the word Iran. And they were either Persian Jews or Persian Christians, or they were Zoroastrian. I've met all of those, and they hate being called Iranian. That's like that it came from. Um, they were named that, by the way, with some things that happened in that region. Anyway, here is Gladerson on Iran. He put this out like yesterday. I thought it was interesting. Let's take a look at it together. And he's doing a critique. He's actually presenting Robert Halleck, which is a mathematician and a professor in New York. These are his codes, and so Glazerson's presenting that.
Torah code dot US. So let us see now parts of the material of his and the tables. So first, in the introduction, Professor Alik about nuclear Iran writes that the Iranian Bushehr Nuclear Reactor has a long history beginning in 1975 during the reign of the Shah Mohammed Reza Pahlavi, when its construction has begun. So there's a story during the Iran-Iraq war, no, 1980, so there's a long story here, but really what I want to emphasize, and this is really the most important idea that we show in the biblical tables. So what is the real idea? So it's written, the problem is not with Iran nuclear reactor. The problem with Iran is with its motivation, its vitriolic talk, its belligerent actions, its sponsorship of terrorism, and its idea that Iran should lead the Islamic world into a messianic end of times. In short.
Okay, so this is why Mossad and the United States wants to take the leadership of the Islamic revolution. Okay, they want to put back the Shah. The Shah, Mohammed Reza, this is royalty here. This is from the Persians, right? And they overthrew him, and I think it's his son now, or maybe his grandson now, that's ready to step in, and he's leading actually another revolution now, where the people are tired of the Islamic bullies that have taken over this country, this very rich in culture. You guys, Iran is not a bad country. There are righteous people there. Not only that, righteous in the sense of Christians and Jews that live in that country that are Persian. Okay, I'll give you a good example. You might have seen him on YouTube. His name is Patrick Ben David. He's got a channel called Valuetainment. He is Persian. Okay, and he'll tell you he's Persian. His father was Assyrian, his mom was something else, but his dad's name, Bet David, that is a Jewish name. That's the house of David. And why would that be? Because that's where they were exiled. Persia and Babylon, right? The Assyrians. It wasn't just Assyria or Syria and Persia. All that was one. It was the British that chopped up the Middle East and named these countries something other than what the Bible called them. Okay, so we must understand that these are very ancient people. All right, and just like Rabbi what's his name, Kaduri, right? Who was living in Iraq. What's he doing in Iraq? What's a Jew doing in Iraq? A 108-year-old rabbi doing in Iraq? Well, he's been there since Daniel's time, because Daniel, the Jews went to Iraq. It was Babylon, right? And so Kaduri's family, in it's written that he can trace it all the way back to Daniel's time, his family history. So there were thousands and thousands of Jews still living in that region right now, you guys. And not only that, Christians, believers, even Coptic or different kind of beliefs of Christianity are in that region, right? So there is some righteousness there. And so I think the United States and Israel would rather subvert the country in an overthrow, insert their own leadership and avert a war that would be, when we're talking about uranium and nuclear weapons, it would be really bad. Okay, so um, yeah, I don't know if this is going to start Armageddon seems like it started, to be quite honest, from the armies from the east, which is the Asians and Russia, not Persia. It doesn't look like Persia starts anything in what we consider Armageddon. It's mostly Russia and like China. Those are the two we need to worry about. Anyway,
Iran is not.
It got muted, Jonathan.
And destabilizing policies in the Middle East in its attempt to gain a dominion and leadership, or indeed it has been one of the main state sponsors of terrorist activities. The Council of Foreign Relations City in publication says in its opening paragraphs. So this is really the most important point in the tables, to emphasize what is the real interest, and not peace. We are not interested in peace. This is agreement that they are going to do with binding with the state is nonsense. Definitely, because the real interest of the Iranian is to lead this Islamic world. It is definitely. So therefore, they will not do anything for peace, far away from peace. So let us see those tables, which are quite significant, which Professor Alec did cite. And there is some material he did together. There are a lot of tables. First, by looking into this site, because it gives you a clear explanation what are the codes, how scientific they are. And then most of the tables are which we did together. So let us see now the tables one by one and see exactly what Iran wants. So this is the Hebrew Iran wants. Iran wants what he wants to impose Halacha Islamic law. Which one? Chok Sharia law. Chok Islam. The statute of Islam is what he wants. So you have really mainly in the table the word Israel, Islamic law. This is what Iran wants. Iran, which are definitely based on the Islam, kind of Islam. And the basis is really what you have here. Sharia. This is a chok, what they want. Amazing. Now, Professor Ali analyzes this table, and he says the search produced a cylinder size of 0.75. The expected number of ERS. ERS is equal letter sequence set to 50. Very interesting. 50 is an important number. If you follow my YouTube, a positive and negative. Positive, definitely 50 gates of purity and understanding, and the 50 gates of impurity. The probability that the text from the ELS and the placement text population would have as compact a table as that produced by the Torah text is 6.5 to 100,000, quite significant. Now the table, the place, the table spans from Exodus 28, the chapter 28, verse 17, so Exodus 40, 17. So in fact, this what you see here Yeah, this is a book, right? The second one is Exodus, and then you have the chapters and the verse. That's amazing. So this is one table. Let us see a second one. Now, this is really more statistic for the less statistic, but it's significant point 4.5 to 10,000. And here you have a better picture what Iran really wants and what they are really going to. So, atomic, this was about the atomic, definitely based on the Islam, and clearly shows the enmity and the enemy of Israel. And this really was a teach Sahabat Israel that said this was their purpose to oppress, harass Israel. This is exactly what they all the time doing. So this is what you have in Israel, the title. And then you have Iran and Islamic, atomic, and this is based on the Islam. It's what the Islam pushes to do it. And we have the enemy of Israel, no doubt. So exactly, Professor Aralik, is similar like we saw before. Yeah, the table, when he says in the end, that's statistically 4.5 to 10,000. The table spans from Genesis 46, 29 through Genesis 47. So you can see yourself that this table is quite significant to have it really in such a small area. Yeah, chapter 46 to 47, definitely very significant. So let us see another table. So here is another table, basically on atomic. This was the one to be. Now here you have, it is less statistics, but it is interesting that also comes in a very, very small area.
All right, so let's point this out. This is almost like what we just saw. As you can see there, enemy of Israel. So the Aleph, Vav, Yod, Bet, Aleph, Vav, Yod, Bet, that's above Israel, because Israel is here running this way, but they join together. So he is showing enemy of Israel or enemy of Israel, joined together. And then again, the conjunction at an angle of these two words. Can you guys see that? All right, now this is Robert Hallett. Now this is on par with some of the things you just saw in the Erica Kirk table with our brother. It's a smaller table, only the size of 22, but look, it's only a few terms. You see what I'm saying? And some of the anomalies are not as impressive, but still, it's still speaking something, right? Anyway.
Right, and here also, the same idea. I told me, Iran, even if Iran, well, definitely the enemy of Israel, the enemy of Israel. And Sarah, the enmity, they were really oppressing Israel, arresting Israel, is what he said. And definitely this was going to be the atom. So together, as I said, very, very interesting table, really. And I would advise very much because there's many, many more tables.
When I see you guys doing better and more, more tightly composed clustering, I kind of get a little bit of pride swells up when I see you guys doing better than some of the best rabbis, you guys. All right. Not to poo-poo what he just showed us there. That's impressive. We're only looking at 2 or 3 terms there. No, I mean it's a cluster. Um, but as you saw, the probability we're talking about 1 in 100,000, things like that. The more terms in the clustering that you have, the probability and all the statistics change, right? So, good job, Paul, in what you're doing there. But I'm proud of you, man.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
It's the Holy Spirit, It's he takes talents that I have and he just magnifies them.
I love
So
seeing that. And
yeah.
different people. It warms my heart to see that because I know I'm not the only one that's supposed to be doing this. I don't have a monopoly on searching codes, you guys. It would behoove me to show that everybody has gifts and can do this and search codes, and the Holy Spirit's going to reveal things that he doesn't reveal to me necessarily, right? And sometimes this has happened where he's revealed the same thing another code searcher was working on, and we didn't even know that we were working on the same thing. So it does
I'm
work as an ephod where the Holy Spirit is revealing hidden things to us as per the Bible says. The Bible says that Yah hides things for his children, and it is your honor to search those things out. Yes, Jeremy.
I was having trouble understanding. Usually I can make out what he's saying pretty well, but I was having trouble understanding him. There was he saying that what's going on in Iran right now is not a good thing?
Yeah, well, he's pointing out the obvious. He's showing some old Robert Halleck um, codes about the nuclear. They produce nuclear material and things like that. He wasn't really going into to anything political, or we're I've been monitoring some things and talking to some people who are really into to the watching the Middle East and what's going on there. And they do want to I mean, when I say they, America and Israel want to change the government in Iran and go back to a Persian way. And so I think they're going to try to do that without going into all out war, because if war happens, the whole region erupts in war. And so they want to avoid that. And so they may do some things like what we saw in Venezuela, where they do this clandestine thing. And, we start seeing videos of it on TikTok. And then the next thing you know, the next morning, we're seeing it on the news where they've taken the Ayatollah, right? Or whoever, and remove the leadership out of there and completely overthrow the government, right? We may see that under Trump, you guys. Trump is really setting himself up to be a certain kind of person. And I'm holding myself back from saying anything else. Um, anyway, one thing about that particular person is the whole world falls in love with him. Okay. So keep that in mind, right?
I've had that similar thought for a little while now, since basically the second term here.
Yeah, he comes as an angel of light. Everybody remember that, right? Everybody's going to love him. And by the way, what did they do with the Messiah, the real one that came? They spit on him, right? Anyway,
Anti doesn't mean always the opposite of. Sometimes it means in place of. So.
right, exactly. Well, exactly. In place of the vicar of Christ, like the Catholic Church. With and that's not the only antichrist type. And I think we're talking about a trifecta of religion here when we get to the Temple Mount and all that stuff, because Ishmael and Isaac were circumcised sons, and so I think it's pretty. I think we're probably going to see a mosque and another temple side by side at some point. Maybe the Dome of the Rock and a temple side by side at some as a compromise in this interfaith movement that we see with the Catholic Church, the Jews, and Islam. Okay, that trifecta of religion, Abrahamic religions. You everybody follow me?
On
Right.
kind of on that note, have you ever heard of Steve Mutria's take on the Ark of the Covenant? How it's the what is how did he phrase it? it is the abomination of desolation, where it's the thing that everyone's going to look to and say, "Oh, it's the ark," but really they're using it in a negative fashion. Have you heard
I
that
have
before?
not seen that, but I would be really interested in seeing that because that would be, the Ark of the Covenant used to be paraded in front of Israel right before a battle, and Yah would conquer. And so, if somebody in the modern times was to use it to try to manipulate the masses, right, this would offend the Most High, right? This would be a very bad thing. I would not be surprised if that happened. Um, but I have not seen that actually. I'd be interested in seeing that. Yeah,
I'll see if I can send you something on that.
yeah. And so I'm reminded. I was telling Paul in the middle of his presentation something about Netanyahu. I think it was New Year's Eve or something. I was going to my Jewish buddy. His name's Michael. He lives not too far from me. We were going over to his house, and suddenly we got stopped by a procession of about 200 police of like three or four different organizations, right? Miami-Dade, the sheriff's office, and like some federal and all that. But there was also helicopters that were all over the place, right? Come to find out, it was Netanyahu was coming to Miami and he was going to a synagogue, a Chabad synagogue to speak, which is really big in Bell Harbor. And I got caught in the middle of that and sat in traffic for probably an hour because of this guy. So yeah, and that was like I didn't know what was at first. I thought it was a cop being buried or something. Maybe they were having some kind of funeral procession. But then we figured out we Googled it and figured out it was Netanyahu was in town. So it was a big deal. All the Jews were standing on the corner and stuff. I thought something was really happening with a funeral. Turns out it was Netanyahu. I was in town. Anyway, all right.
That's pretty cool, though.
Yeah, he was here for New Year's Eve at Bell Harbor at the Chabad synagogue. It's a huge synagogue right there on Collins. A lot of Orthodox lives around me. There's probably 10 synagogues within walking distance from where I live.
Kind of off subject since you brought up New Year's Eve and last was it last? Yeah, last New Year's Eve. Do you remember that big hubbub in Miami around the mall? How there were all those cops and there's all that. Um,
And they thought it was like aliens or
they thought it
something.
was like aliens or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, has anybody done a code on that?
People, I think somebody has done, I don't remember who it was. Um, I want to say it was Brother Martin, but I might be wrong with that.
I was curious about that, but I never found any resolution.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it. I didn't do any codes on it. Um, but I was here. Anyway, you guys got anything before we close out tonight? I'm gonna stop.